but I'm excited because when I leave, I literally have, we may never see each other again, but I have the ability when you walk out of this room to make you operate in a way you've never operated before. And once you do that, because I know if you're in this room, I know there's something special about you, that once you leave this
room, welcome to Decisions Over Time podcast. This is episode 3. I got the great Tyrell James Avery with me.
Hey, episode 3. You know, they always say third place is bad, but look, you know, I gotta set the tone for the rest of them that come behind me, so don't worry about it.
There you go. All right, so how you doing? Let the people know a little bit about you. Let them know a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So me, I'm a California native, West Oakland. West Oakland, East Oakland, that's kind of where I stayed for a little while. I made it to the East Coast. My mom's from here. I spent my time in Philadelphia before I got to Virginia. I've been here 5 years or so. I lost count. You start working every day, you be like, yeah, dang, it's 2022. That's what's up. But yeah, I've been down here probably 5 years. In my journey, as I've bounced around, I have achieved my bachelor's degree. I went to an all-girls school, and then I achieved my master's degree and then moved back down here because Virginia's cool for a minute. I guess I'll stick around for a minute, but I decided at 25, like I wanted to transition. So I transitioned from female to male, and I have lived in that advocacy since then. Like I promote it and try to mentor people and just be who I want to be, because I have faced a whole lot of adversity. And you know, people in this world, they're not gonna get any better. You know, they don't have no training. A lot of people are ignorant to society and just not wanting to change. So I just continue to keep promoting positivity. Like can't tell you how many support groups I'm in on Facebook. Like, and it's kind of like, when I read it, I'm like, dang, I didn't even go through that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm one of the lucky ones. So I continue to just keep telling people my journey because I know that I'm different. Like I'm cut from a different cloth. And that's not to sound arrogant, but like I lived a different life. Yeah. And some people don't understand that. And even if I sit here and try to explain it to the world, not everybody's going to be on the same page. So I'm just a kid out here just trying to make it. Like I started my life with the criminal justice field. Like I went to school for it. I'm going back to school for it. Can't really tell you why, but I enjoy it. So I worked obviously in the uniform from the Department of Corrections, and now I'm just doing entrepreneurial stuff. Like I took a leap on faith, and I just realized, like, based upon the fact that I transitioned, I've faced so much adversity, you know, in the jobs and the places I've been in the past. Like, I don't want that for my life no more. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Most people say, you know, you don't figure that out till your midlife crisis. But I was telling my fiance, I said, I think my midlife crisis is right now, you know? Yeah. And right now, I feel like I need to tell my story, and not only to put it out there like I'm the only trans person in the world, but there's people out here that are silently hurting and don't realize that there's people out here that have had that same struggle, but nobody's willing to say anything because nobody wants their name attached to it. Listen, if it's not anything somebody gonna know about me when I leave this earth plane, they're gonna know my name for that reason alone. Yeah. Because I don't have a problem with reaching out. I don't have a problem with giving people my experience. I don't have a problem with answering questions, because the only way we're gonna know in the future is if you ask questions. And people think like, oh, I can't ask you because I don't want to offend you. First of all, I ain't that sensitive. Let's have a conversation. I'm all about a crucial conversation, and that can look in any direction. Like it doesn't have to be personal. It don't have to be an intimate partner. It could just be a Joe Schmo off the street. But if they got a question, I'm going to answer it, because I feel like the more you know, the less hate we're going to have going around. And I think the respect is most important. When I worked in a correctional setting, I knew that respect was transparent. Yeah. Like, I don't care if you're an inmate, you're a staff member, you run in the place, whatever the case, respect is the same. Mm-hmm. And I think that people miss that piece. So as I continue through my journey and my struggles, like I keep pushing that, like respect one another, because we all different in some way. I don't know your story, you don't know mine, but I'm writing it from my point of view. Right. If you ain't on my boat, then you just gonna sink, I guess. I mean,
you ain't floating.
Yeah, you ain't here for it. Like, and I'm good with that. Like, I'll see you in another lifetime. But you know, I just try to make sure that people understand, like, I always say to myself, life ain't that hard. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard as you make it. And I have taken my own advice now at 28 and just say, you know what? Like I quit my full-time 9 to 5. I got a little part-time gig and I'm a business owner, like, and that's what I'm living off of right now. And I'm in the best space I can be because I bet on myself and I believed in myself. And not a lot of trans people have that kind of confidence
Yeah.
because they have to be suppressed for society. And I live against the grain. I'm getting married on Tuesday and I'm wearing slides. So they can bookmark that. But you know what I'm saying? I will post it on social media. But like I like to live outside the box because life's too short. Like tomorrow ain't promised to no man. This could be the last conversation we ever have with one another, but at least we had it. We can say we had the experience. And that's how I live my life. And I've taken my transition and I've promoted that piece of it to the world. And I feel like for me, like, I mean, I ain't a Nelson Mandela or a Nobel Prize winner, but the people that I touched, I've seen the difference in them. Like there's people that I knew that never knew about my situation that were like, I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Like you're a decent person. I would have never guessed. And there's some people that are truly ignorant to it. So I made it my business. Like, okay, so we ignorant, let me educate you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can only educate you from my personal experience, but I can say that a lot of people I've come in contact with have had the same experiences. And honestly, I said, I did everything on my own. When I went through my surgery, when I went through just the medication piece of it, I did it all on my own because there aren't any resources, especially in Virginia. There aren't any. Like you got to throw a penny in a bucket and hope that it's going to stay there.
Yeah.
Like that's how hard it is to find somebody. So I did my research. Like Google's a thing, and they always say don't use Google, it's not always great, but I had to rob Peter to pay Paul and call people, and people gave me information that's not readily available. And I know that there's people out there in this state alone struggling with that. So think about a place like California. Like the population is great, like a million times what it is here in Virginia, and the resources are so limited that people don't notice stuff.
Yeah.
So any piece of information I get, like even now that I'm post-top surgery, I've been on my hormones almost 4 years now. Like I'll share a link in a heartbeat because people don't know.
Yeah.
And that's what I've used my transition for. And not so much, like I said, like leverage, but there's things where I struggled with. And there was times where I was like, you know what? This ain't even worth it. Like it's not worth it. And I want to throw the towel in, but I learned to just be patient. And I think that our society is trying to rush, like, oh, this is just a phase and we'll get through it. Like, no, y'all got to be patient with this because this is a new age thing. And we're not going to continue to be ignorant in 2022 when, the generations that are our generation and the ones that came behind us, they ain't got time for that. So let me save you the butt kick and educate you real quick. So that's kind of what my story is. That's where my motivation is. And that's where I land, I guess, in this moment for sure.
But that's powerful though, because that shows how you have a lot of strength and a lot of bravery that a lot of people struggle to have or even try to hide. You know what I mean?
Sure. Exactly.
Because
On a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Like I've worked in workplaces where it's just been like, okay, yeah, I gotta go. Like, because the dynamic, and God forbid, people write policies and they put things in black and white and all of that other fun jazz. They don't follow it for real, and that's the reality.
Right?
So you're silently suffering for a job, for a paycheck? No, it ain't even worth all that.
Right.
All that. Listen, I can go out here and deliver pizzas and they ain't got to talk to nobody for 8 hours and make it. I'm good off it. I'm good. And I feel like we, again, are so ignorant that we refuse to try to follow the policies that they try to put in place.
Yeah.
And a lot of places are behind, states like North Carolina, Virginia, they're pretty behind, even though they've passed some laws or they've had lawsuits where they come across the news. Like words don't mean nothing unless there's action behind it. So we're gonna fix it for a second, but then we're gonna go back to this other guy and be, so I learned that my happiness is most important, and finding that in my transition took a lot out of me because it, like you said, it requires a lot of courage. It allows you to, one, be self-sufficient, but you also have to stand in it. You got to stand and say, this is what happened. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of family. Like I can tell you, I've got friends that I would call before I call blood relatives. And that's sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people don't want to change and you want to be stuck in the same motion. But I realize that that's not where I want to be. I
Mhm.
don't want to be stuck in, I'm trans and I'm a sensitive party and you got to respect. No, we human. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, we human. My blood red just like yours. And that's all I care about. But people can't see that because they're so close-minded. They only see the one aspect of you. But you judge me from just one piece of what you know about me.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? You sit down and have a conversation with me, you'll never know.
Yeah.
You'll never know. Like, and it's just crazy how the world is just not, it's not hit. They not hip. And I want that for me. I want that for the people around me because all we got is each other.
Right.
Really, you can't rely on nobody, but all you got is each other because guess what? If something happened, we got to live with that.
Yeah.
There's no taking it back. So why I'm gonna live with regret? Every decision I make, I'm gonna stand in it. And when I made my transition, that's what I did. I stood in that. I said, it is what it is. Like, again, you're not on my boat. I send you a lifesaver, but that's about it. That's all I got for you. That's all I got for you. Sorry. That's it. Because it's just not worth the stress no more. Like, I had gray hairs at 25. I'll be damned.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I don't worked hard to grow this beard out. You mean to tell me you're gonna give me a gray one? At that point, I was like, yeah, I'm stressing for nothing.
Right.
And I don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to. So that's me. That's who I am. And if anybody asks me that, I'll tell them the same thing. Like I wake up every day, and that's an accomplishment, Like
Yeah.
I listen to the news maybe 2 months back and right before the new year. And the lady said, well, what's your New Year's resolution? And she said, I don't have one. And I said, that's what like turned my ears like, okay, tell me more, And she said, every day is an accomplishment. Every day you wake up, open your eyes is an accomplishment. And it stuck with me because I was like, you know what? I accomplished something today because I got up. Because I could have called out, I could have rolled over, look, I ain't coming in.
Yeah.
And not did, but I got up and did something. And it's crazy. I think I talk about it on my podcast, but you getting to work 15 minutes earlier than you did last week is an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And I've learned to love myself before I start loving everybody else. Like I used to be the person I give you the shirt off my back, give you the socks off my feet, all of that. But I learned that people start to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I have to realize that I can't allow people to keep sucking from me and I'm not giving, and they not giving nothing to me. So
leave an empty cup.
Yeah, like we all got to eat around here, you know what I'm saying? And when people don't have that same mindset as me, I have to stray away from them. Like you might still be a halfway decent person, but you can't sit at my table because you're trying to suck from me and not feed me. So I've just taken my transition and I fed myself, and then I've met people that have continued to feed me. You know what I mean? And my job is to just share that information. And like I said, it's a quick share button on Facebook. It's a quick link post because I always tell people good morning or I appreciate you when I'm done with whatever it is that I'm interacting, because you never know how it's going to change somebody's life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You hold the door for somebody and say, oh, have a good day, and that person might have been getting ready to go in their car and drive off a bridge. But I say their life because I say good morning. And that's what I want for trans people, is to be accepted and it not be like oh, I have to figure out how to treat you. There should be one concrete way how we treat each other. We human at the end of the day, and how you would treat any other human, that's how you need to treat this person.
Way. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for a long time, obviously, a decade ago, it was, oh, gay people are under this umbrella. Like, you know what I mean? And it was like, oh, if you gay, you separate. But now that trans has really come out in the 21st century and really been like, okay, we here, we gonna let you know, and it is what it is. Like people are still like kind of stuttering about it, and it's like, it's not that serious, y'all thinking too hard. and that's what I want to, I tell people like in my podcast, like y'all thinking too hard. Respect is transparent. All you got to do is see me for who I am, not for what a piece of paper says or what my license says. And that's the piece that trans people are pinpointed for, because my license still to this day, because I refuse to pay Virginia $36 for a new license. When it expired, they'll get that $36, but my license still says female. You know what I mean? So when I go for like legal documentation, I went and got fingerprints maybe a month and a half ago, and I always have to tell them, use what's on the ID. because they instantly stop and they're like, and I tell them. So and I've learned to not get offended. Like my mom, when we would go out, she would get offended by it. I said, you can't be offended by somebody that don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I said, that's the thing. I said, now, if you tell them and they continue to be ignorant about it, that's a different conversation. But if you genuinely don't know because you don't know what that person is exposed to, you can't really be mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where my experiences come in. And I've educated people. And even if it's just that short interaction, use the information on my ID. Oh, okay. And it clicks and people said they don't have no issue. You know what I mean? So that's my goal. That's my vision. And however I get there is where I'm going with it.
Okay. But see, what you said though, I can kind of relate to that because I feel like I always had this set vision of what people probably think of me. And I kind of set with it. And those are things I'll probably assume that somebody's thinking of me. And I'll already have that guilt trip, if you know what I mean.
Right. And so, it's self-talk. It's self-talk for a long time. Like in the beginning of my transition, I won't tell you any lies. Maybe the first, I'll say 6 months to a year, like I contemplated like, is this something I really want to do? Like, am I tripping? Like every day I would wake up like, is this really like, especially as my beard started to grow and I started to change my features and things like that. And that's pre-top surgery, you know? So I'm still like in the position where I'm having to bind my breasts down and all the other stuff to make it appear as though I'm male because now I got facial hair. Now I'm a whole different animal, you know what I mean? But a lot of times, a lot of the things when people hadn't seen me for a while, they're like, oh, you know, you changed your appearance, and like trying to hint around the fact that like, oh yeah, you're trans. Okay, yeah, we know. Thank you for the elephant in the room. Like, let's move on, you know. But to have that experience, I've learned that people just genuinely don't know and don't know how to deal with it. And that's why I became more open and less defensive about it, because I was like, man, like people really just ain't as educated. But I had to remember, like, ain't nobody sit down in front of a computer for 6 hours and do the research like I did. Like nobody did that. And I mean, I'm sure there are people in the world that have, but I can't say that every person I encounter in regards to my situation is gonna know what I'm thinking, you know? And then you get people that you tell them one time and they're like, oh yeah, that's what's up. And you don't hear nothing else about it. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. And in your head, you're like, this is crazy. Like, oh my God, they're gonna know. Like for a long time when I went out, I wouldn't go out in public without my fiance because I was like, people know. Like I just kept thinking in my head, people know, like, and after a while, I was like, man, the hell with these people. Like, guess what? You still gonna cut me off on 95. You still gonna be rude to me in the store. It ain't gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
It is what it is, you know? And I learned from that. And I think for me, I'm so much better now because I can look at the other side of the table and say, you know what? Maybe they just having a bad day. It ain't even about me. But in my head at one point, it was, oh, because I'm trans, they could tell I was born a woman, like, because that was me.
Yeah.
And learn how to calm it down and just, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Every day, there's days I wake up and be like, yeah, it ain't happening today. Because I know that my body is trying to keep me down. So sometimes I have to listen to it and say, yeah, just take a break for a second. Sometimes being outside with people and being exposed to the world is like, it ain't it.
Yeah.
And I believe everybody deserves a mental health day, and to have the flexibility that I have now, like, listen, if I don't feel like talking to people today, I don't have to. And it's great. Like, but I might sit up on a podcast and tell y'all about my life, because not that I am looking for any sympathy or any empathy, but I want you to know that these are real life experiences.
Right.
These are things that people are genuinely going through, because when you listen to it, the person goes, oh my God, that's horrible. But then you're in the same situation, you do the same exact thing. But are you going to be cognizant of that? Right. So that's where I push that, because you'll say, oh, well, I don't like this. Okay, but that applies to me. So what you're telling me is, well, I like you. No. I say it's very close to racism. Don't say, oh, you know, I don't like Black people, but I like you. Hold on. I still fall in that group. So you like me or you don't contradict yourself. Let me know what's up. Because I've learned that people just don't know. Like, and there's inappropriate questions I get all the time. I used to work in a female institution, so they saw that progress of me, and they, you know, they tell me, oh my God, you know, you look like you slanging. I'm like, come on, dog. Like, and you have to almost deflect it, because you know that it's no malintent. But feel like you can be a target for conversation like that because you're different. So I've learned to just take it with a grain of salt, and I'll be like, yeah, go on about your business so I can do what I need to do it on my 9 to 5 that I get paid for.
Yeah.
But that's my life. Like, and I feel like I've touched a lot of people, like even people that didn't know, or I've told them outright, and they just be looking like, really? And then they come back with questions and they're like, I don't want to offend you. I'm like, there's nothing that you can say to offend me. Would they say that you can call me everything in the book except for a child of God, or something to that effect? Like I'm good with that. Like, let's have a conversation, because if you don't know, I'm here to be open to tell you that. And not every trans person is willing to do so.
Yeah.
Not a trans person of color anyway. Let me say that. Because there's not many. The platform is very small. So I have made it my business, as I have progressed in who I am now, Tyrell James. Like, I want y'all to know who I am, but I want you to know where I came from. In the same, because I need y'all to understand, and you'll never be able to walk a mile in my shoes, but I can give you some vision about it. And I think that's helped every person I've come in contact with, because they're like, dang, I listen to your podcast. Like, I didn't know you experienced stuff like that.
Yeah.
What, the strongest warriors wear the most weight on their back, and you'll never see it, because guess what? I'm always gonna be good in front of you, but behind closed doors, I'm gonna deal with it. That's it. It is what it is. So that's where I'm at. I just want to be raw and just out there, and like, this is who I am. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to go get any crazy surgeries or anything like that to make me look buff and look. I ain't got time for all that. Who got money for that? Insurance. We pay taxes around here. I ain't got time. So, but it's just like, I realized that this is what I was meant to do. Like, the experiences I've had and the education I've had, it means nothing until I apply it. And I applied it in my role in my life. And that's where I needed it to be. And that's just what it was. And that's how you got me now. That's where I'm at. I'm right here. That's it.
Hello.
Right. Good morning. I'm making waffles. You want some coffee or you want some orange juice? Like, okay. We have brunch popping off in here, but that's just.
Hey, that sounds good though. I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, man. Look, sidebar. I watched the Food Network. They had they had quail and waffles. I was like, oh my god. I need to be there. So I look, stay tuned. It might be a podcast. I've been had a recipe.
Okay.
I got you. Don't worry about it. But yeah, man, I enjoy my journey. I have enjoyed it up until this point. Like, there's been some low points and there's been some high points. And right now in this moment, I can't say that I have a concern in the world. Because I stood in what I believed in, and this is who I am, and I'm gonna wear that. And I won't let nobody tell me anything different. I won't tell nobody, oh, well, you were stillborn. I won't let you tell me that, because that person no longer exists. You can kill that person. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a new person, and I get a clean slate. And every place I've gone to, especially when I've been in the corporate world and working and things like that, I never got a clean slate because somebody felt the need to, oh, I know you, so I'm gonna tell you a story. It's not your story to tell. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because not everybody is privileged to having that information about you, because they use it against you. And I learned that because people would continue to, oh yeah, well, he used to be a girl. Why was that relevant to how I do my job?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But see, when we talk about corporate America, when you bring it to the forefront, they like, oh, we can't touch that, but you need to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to. And every job I've ever worked in, I've always it wasn't like I wanted somebody to be fired, but I wanted the advocacy to be put in place.
Yeah.
I wanted people to know, because we could prevent this if we do this. But we all talk about $1. Like, okay, so you rather me sue you than you to pay $50 an employee to get this training done.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I've learned that it's like, I'm not going to beg and plead you to treat me right. I know how to treat me right. So if you're not going to do it, then, I told myself January 5th, I left a state agency and said, I'm gonna bet on myself in 2022 because they didn't appreciate who I was.
Yeah.
And who I am. Let me not say that, even in this moment, like who I was before and who I am now, they didn't appreciate that. Yeah. And I've been the same person mentally, I've always been the same person. That's always been my conversation. Let's talk about it, because unless we continue to stare at each other, we'll never have any answers.
Right.
Like, we can stare at each other all day because that's free. But
Yeah.
how are we gonna make this bread? And it's communication, and people don't want to do that. And when people get afraid of something, they want to stray away from it. So
Yeah.
okay, you're gonna stray away from it. I'm gonna keep giving it to you. I'm gonna keep serving it to you till you full,
Right.
because we're not gonna get away from this issue. And it's not, and people always say, oh, it's not about you. No, it's not about me, but it's also about the people that come behind me, the people that came before me that didn't get what I'm fighting for.
Mhm.
And you know what? You become a target when that happens, because people think that you're trying to prove a point. And I am trying to prove a point that you cannot treat people differently because of the fact that they check a different box than you.
Yeah.
I mean, when we look at it, you know, men and women were making different amounts of money, you know, in the 60s.
Yeah.
And we fought for equal rights and women's rights and all that. And now we got Black women and white women and Hispanic women making more money than the average man.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. So
Yeah.
why can't we have that same result? So
Right.
again, like, I'm one person, and you know, the country has a bajillion people in it. But if I continue to just tell people, they're gonna tell somebody else. And I don't want no credit for it. I just want you to know.
It's
I
the
just want
message.
you to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, send a message. I could care less about, I ain't got to sign my name on a dotted line. I ain't got to do none of that. Y'all can keep that. That's free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can get, you know, because I did the research, but y'all keep that. I'll let y'all have that.
Yeah.
But use it wisely. Don't be ignorant. And
Right.
that's the thing. Is like, we can't get away from being ignorant. And I continue to, okay, yeah, I'm gonna fix that.
Mhm.
I'm a Sagittarius, so we can play, because I'm taking it all the way to 11. We're going by ones. Don't play with me.
Them
Like,
Sagittarius.
yeah, like I because I'm here for that. I'm here for that conversation. And I used to be the type of person that would be so strong-headed and be like, ah, you don't know what you're talking about. But when I stopped and learned how to hear the other side of the story, I realized what the message really needed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when I learned that people just genuinely didn't know, because I was in a mind frame that people should know. And I
Yeah.
was like, why you don't know this? Like, why is this okay? You know?
Yeah.
And then I realized people just, they didn't get the same experiences I got. I'm grateful for the experiences that I got. I'm grateful for the people that I've met along the way, your mother being one of them.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. If I want something done, I need you to give it to me straight. And if I could go to her and say, give it to me. And that's what it was. And that was our relationship. But we worked well together, and it never changed the dynamic as I progressed, as I changed from female to male. She never treated me any different. And those are people that you hold on to, because not only do they teach you something, but they're turning around and teaching other people something, because they know that you're a part of their life, or you've experienced that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now again, I'm wiping my hands, because y'all doing the work.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is having a conversation, and that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
let me tell you something. We can have a conversation all day.
Right.
Guess what? At the end of the day, somebody gonna spark your conversation. You say, you know what? I was on a podcast with my man, and he's, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. And now, not only you know, but somebody else know. And that's where I want to be. Like, that's who I am. So that's what I want to give to the world, regardless of what that looks like. I ain't gotta make $1 million off it. I could sit here in this house that we just moved into and live my life.
Yeah.
That's me. That's who I am. That's it, and that's all.
But see, that's all that matters is the effectiveness.
Yeah.
That money stuff ain't, when people, because social media these days, that's all it's about. It's like, you know, let me do this. I wanna try to make this money, or I want to do this. Let me try to sell these clothes, or do this or do that. But the more you're really into it, just being able to let people create their footsteps, or even just allow them to share their stories and experience, because you'd be surprised how many people it impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's huge.
You'd be surprised off of one Facebook post. I think right before I left my 9 to 5, I had posted on, I said, you know what? I said, people have bet against me my whole life. I said, but I ain't never bet on myself. I said, so I'm all in. And I left. And I left my 9 to 5, and I can't tell you how many people I've seen since then. Like, yeah, like, I took your advice. I found my happiness. Listen.
Yeah.
That paycheck ain't saying nothing to me because we in 2022 and I can go out and shop for groceries for somebody else and make $300 a day.
Yeah.
Why I'm gonna sit behind a desk?
Right.
And I could wear sweats and slides and a hoodie in the grocery store for somebody else? Come on now. Why are we working hard?
Don't be a robot. Yeah.
I'm the last person to go to the grocery store in my house. But guess what? If it's coin attached to it, sure, Susan, I'm gonna get your groceries. Don't even worry about it. I'll be there in 25 minutes. Because it's just the reality of the beast. It's like, why I'm gonna sit behind a desk and let somebody bark orders at me and disrespect me on a regular basis when I be sitting in my car paying for a tank of gas, listening to Apple Music and chilling. Yeah, and I'm making money. Right. So I stopped working too hard. I found my peace, and I told people, I said, the issue with me was I had to come to peace with myself. Yeah, I had to not keep thinking that person in the past is still present, because that person is gone. Mm-hmm. In the reality of it, because I live in Tyrell James. Yeah, and I won't let nobody tell me nothing different. So why not let that person go? What I'm holding on for? I can't go back. None of what I got going on now is irreversible. I promise you. So what I'm holding on for the past for? That's true. I mean, that's what it is. And I think that I won't say that I found the confidence overnight, but it took me a long time. Yeah. It took me a long time. It took me a lot of tears, a lot of anger, a lot of, you know what? Like, and I've gotten to a point where I just felt like I didn't want to be here no more. But the more and more I thought about it, I said, if I leave, then nobody knows. Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm not gonna say I'll stay on this earth because of somebody else, but the reality of it is the hatred that I get and the backlash that I get, is it really worth taking my life when what I'm trying to do is make a change? Yeah. I can't make no change from the grave. Right. You know what I'm saying? And my great grandfather always said, he said, you're gonna have peace in two places, in your home and in your grave. Mm-hmm. And I said, while I'm here, I said, I'll be damned if it's 6 feet under. Yeah, because I'm here and it's not my time. So let me utilize it well. Yeah. And that's just where I've been at. That's where I live, because trans people don't have the confidence to say, this is what I live in. Mm-hmm. Because people are so busy trying to tell them how to live. How you gonna tell me how to live? Yeah. That's like if you right-handed and they left-handed, how is they way wrong and yours is right? That's just what it is. That's true. That's true. So how dare you? Yeah. How dare you tell me how to live my life? How you gonna write my story? Yeah. You can't write nobody else. I'll take my pen back. Thank you. Let me write my own story. Right. So, and I have continued to tell my story because I'm not perfect. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I had dark days. Like I had days where I didn't want to go to work. You know, I roll over and text my boss, I don't feel well. Knowing that I really ain't got no ailments, but I just can't get out this bed because I can't face society. Yeah. And I had to grow from that. And nobody could teach you that. It's just a process, but you have to be patient with yourself. And I think people fail to do that, especially when you're trying to prove a point. For the longest, you know, growing up, I played ball, so I ran with the boys all the time because they always made you stronger. But even now, like, I still feel like I'm in competition. And when I learned, I was like, I ain't got to be in competition with no other man in this room. Yeah. I said, because don't nobody know my situation. They don't know me. And guess what? If they feel like I'm a threat, they barking up the wrong tree. I mean, I might be a threat. I don't know. I mean, whatever your chick's preference is, but you know, I'm a married man, or will be in 2 days. So I ain't checking for you, and I ain't checking for her. And I've had that. Like, I don't want your chick, bro. And I'm like, people, and I've learned, like, people are really intimidated by you walking in a room because you got confidence on your shoulders. You not walking with your head down. You walking in there like, let me get a number 7 with a sweet tea and keep it pushing. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And people get intimidated by that. And I'm looking like, it ain't that serious. No. But it's because people don't know. I'm not in competition with nobody. I'm in competition with myself every day. Like, why would I be in competition with somebody else? I ain't got the kind of time. That's true. That's true, though. You hit the right points. Yeah. And that's why I said I had to learn how to be patient with myself, because I wanted to rush it and prove a point. But when I realized, I was like, man, I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
What point am I trying to prove?
Yeah.
If I'm confident in me and I'm standing in me, oh well.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck for the rest of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it just is
Yeah.
what it is. Like it just, and I want that for people. I want that happiness. When I left my 9 to 5 and I bet on me and I started picking my small business back up and just working my private security gigs and I doing all of that, just things that I enjoy, I was like, man, this happiness is weird, but
Yeah.
it's good though.
Yeah.
Good. Like I wake up every day and I look at the ceiling like I love being here. I enjoy being in this moment because the people around me and the people I've encountered and the people that have helped mold me to the person I am, I'm appreciative of them.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them all the time, like, I don't go to bed mad and I won't ever end a phone call with bye
Mm-hmm.
because tomorrow ain't promising no man. And I will be damned if I'm the person that gives you your last words.
Yeah.
And I always tell people all the time, see you later. Or somebody call me and say, all right, yeah, bye. I'll call them back. It's not bye, see you later.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know. And again, we talk about confidence. Like I didn't have that for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have it for a long time. And when I realized that these support groups had so many people in them that didn't have that had the same feelings, like they didn't have that confidence, or they would pose a question to the group like, does this look feminine? And I would just start responding like, do what you want.
Yeah.
If you want to identify as a man, do that. I said, because at the end of the day, you want to wear a pink shirt. I said, pink is my color. I would throw a pink shirt on and some loafers in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I ain't afraid of what nobody has to say about it.
Right.
Because it's me. And guess what? If I'm comfortable, I look in the mirror and say, damn, I look good. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feeling myself. I'm the only person that matter in that room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But people don't know where to start. And the
Yeah.
reality of it is you have to be patient because nothing comes overnight. Nothing comes overnight. And if you continue to get frustrated with yourself because you're not progressing like everybody else on social media, because social media is the devil.
It
You know
is.
what I'm saying? Then you will get sucked into that black hole of I'm not adequate enough.
Mm-hmm.
And when I stepped away from that, and I didn't really get rid of social media, but I was more so an observer, as I guess what they call it, a troll. I just was trolling and just being nosy. But I realized that people were posting things for stamps of approval.
Mm-hmm.
And then I learned that as I got quiet, okay, when I do post something, okay, now it makes more of an impact.
Yeah.
And I ain't got to be all up in the streets. Yeah. Oh, I love my life. And then I ain't got to do all that because when I pop out, you know what's up. And when I go back, then, I'm chilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it is. But I want that for people. I want that confidence to be able to say, I'm good in who I am. I don't care if my parents don't accept it. I don't care if my friends don't accept it. I don't care if I lose people along the journey, because guess what? That's their story.
Yeah.
And your story wasn't meant to be in the right now with those people you lost on the journey.
Right.
Like I said, I lost blood family. I got people that won't talk to me, won't answer my phone calls. I got people that were, elementary school friends that when they found out, they unfollowed me, stopped talking to me. That's cool because that's your story.
Yeah.
It ain't no love lost because I don't have no hate in the world for nobody.
Yeah.
But when you're ready to learn about it, come holler at me. I'll be willing and open to have the conversation.
Right.
But if people are afraid to have the conversation, then we stuck at square one, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So let's have a conversation. I've had people that I know tell somebody else like, oh, this is the person to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's an honor because I'm like, again, that's how we end up here, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, like of all people, you thought of me.
Yeah.
Because what I'm doing is clearly making an impact on somebody.
Right.
And it might be a one-man band for a while, but when people catch on,
it's gonna, yeah.
They're gonna know.
Yeah.
I tell them all the time. And that's the life that I live because I've been through it.
Yeah.
And I used to tell people all the time, I have a good friend I went to high school with, and she lost her mother. Her mother was battling through cancer while we were in high school. And as we've gone through, our college years, she passed away, I believe in 18 or 19. And I reached out to her and I said, I can't imagine how you feel losing a parent.
Yeah.
I said, because I can't put myself in those shoes.
Right.
And she said, and when she responded, she said, you know what? She said, I can't imagine walking a mile in your shoes because I know that you go through things. And I
Right.
said, yeah. I said, and it's hard. I said, until have experienced it, you never know what a person goes through. And I believe maybe 6 or 7 months later, I lost my dad, my stepfather. But at that point, he was the only father figure I had in my life. And to have to bury him all of a sudden, it put a damper on our life, and it made me change my outlook on life again. Like I said, tomorrow's not promised to no man. So what I'm waiting for.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, like people say, oh, I don't know if I'm a transition. What you waiting for?
Yeah.
Tomorrow may not be a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like tomorrow may not be a thing for those people. So what we waiting for?
That's true.
You know, people used to complain like, oh, people stand in line to buy Jordans. What they waiting for? Might as well buy them, because guess what? You can't wear them in the grave. I mean, now what the consequences are, you spending $200 on some sneakers is your business. But you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we judging people for the things that they do? They gonna live their life. You gonna write your story, and I'm gonna write mine. And at some point, maybe our paths will cross. But if they don't, then that's cool too.
Yeah.
Sucks that you didn't get to know me. You know?
That's true though. That's true.
You know, and that's just what it is. And that's where I live. Like, just trying to give people the true, the raw, the not what you read in a pamphlet, because that's all good and dandy, but it ain't the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And then you have to learn I learned to cheat the system. I learned that, when you're transgender, there's a lot of extra steps when it comes to medical. Okay, why?
Yeah.
But why? So I challenge the process.
Explain that though.
So when I got my top surgery done, which technically, if a cisgender woman were to get the same surgery, it would be what we consider like a bilateral mastectomy. Most women have it if they have breast cancer or something like that, and they need to remove the breast. Same surgery, but you require, for me, a mental health letter. I got to be seen by a doctor, and this and that and the third, and be clear and go through all these steps before you say, yes, my insurance will cover it. But I paid the same amount as the person next to me, and she got the same surgery.
Oh,
make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Help me understand how that makes sense. Why do I need an extra piece of paper to say, yeah, okay, he good for surgery?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people get breast reductions all the time. It's not, you could get implants, but you're going to spend a little bit of a coin on it.
Yeah.
But everybody get a reduction. Like, don't nobody ask, oh, you sure you ready to get a reduction? Yeah, my damn back hurt. I want to get these things off my chest. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, it's like, that's what it is. So I'm like, why am I any different from what you did for the previous person?
Yeah.
So I learned to fight the system, because if you don't ask questions, you don't know. So help me understand. And when you don't have an answer for me, well, I guess the real answer is what's written on this piece of paper, and I don't need it. But people are afraid to challenge the process, and I continue to challenge the process. My grandmother is a good example of somebody I've challenged. I love my grandmother. She always gonna be my grandmother, but she struggles with it. She struggles with the pronouns. She struggles with the acceptance of it. And it's like, you know what? I have to love you from a distance, because I know that you don't get it yet. But I can't keep babying you through the process either, because I have my own life to live. So at some point, again, we talk about ignorance, you either gonna catch on or you ain't. But it ain't gonna keep me from loving you. I'm still gonna call you, and you're still gonna be my grandmother and all that other stuff. But until you catch on, it's one of those things where I have to protect my peace. And yes, you my family, you my grandmother, you deserve the utmost respect, but I have to protect me first. And whatever that looks like, it is what it is, because again, it's my story. And I'm not going to live uncomfortable because you don't want to abide by the rules or the boundaries that I've set forth for myself. And I think that's where people get misconstrued. Like, as a trans person, set the boundary. If you're not comfortable with those questions, set that. Me, I'm an open book. We can have a conversation, but the next person may not. And I think that's where we get afraid to stand up for ourselves and say, okay, that's where I draw the line. You know what I mean? Like, that's where we draw the line. Like, I don't allow people to really ask me, are you going to carry a child, or what does that look like? That's not your business. Because
Right.
for
Right.
me, what I do behind closed doors is my business. Now, what I give you and what I allow you to have is what you can then take and run with.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to allow you to dig deeper than I want to allow you to, because people will try you. People try you and say, "Oh, I've gotten out of the blue text. So what is this? What? Hello. Let's start there. Good morning. Did you brush your teeth and wash your face before you get me? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you have to protect yourself, because if you continue to feed into the negative, then you start thinking like, dang, again, we go back to being adequate, right? And having that confidence that then you're going to sit in a room of people and say, I, I don't amount to him, and him. I don't care who I amount to, because I'm on my own mountain.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And that's where we miss that piece, because we're afraid to stand up for ourselves, because not only are we in it alone, if you will, we standing on our own boat by ourselves, but there's nobody to back you for real.
Yeah.
There's nobody to back you, because it's still so sensitive and people are still so ignorant to the situation. Nobody wants to step up and say, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference between right and wrong. Right and wrong don't change, whether you're gay, straight, and different, purple, yellow, or green.
Yeah.
Right and wrong is the same. So why are we different? Because I have a different label on me now.
Yeah.
I was a different person 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Why? It's modern day racism, or modern day, I guess you could say sexism, if you will.
Yeah.
Like it is.
It
It's
is.
modern day, and people don't want to believe that. But I'm like, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've been assaulted in the women's restroom pre-transition, because I had my hair cut short since I was in high school. I've been attacked in the women's bathroom. I've been sexually assaulted by people because they feel like it's just okay. Like all of these things I've experienced, but I won't give you that unless I allow you to have it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to allow you to probe me and say, oh, well, you transitioned because you was raped as a child. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
That's not what I said. You came to that conclusion because you think that's the stigma behind it.
Right.
You don't know what I've dealt with. You don't know what I've gone through. You
Mhm.
don't know what my experience looked like up until this point. So for you to have hatred towards me because of something you assume, well, you know what they say about assuming. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
But people think that's okay. Like they're gonna assume and run with it, and then other people that are influenced by them are gonna take that too. So that's how we get the negative connotation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna change the dynamic. Let's have a conversation.
I
And
like that. I like that.
Listen, just let me know where I need to be. And I'm here for it. Like,
Right.
because it's just, again, if we don't talk about it, they don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know. And that's the mark that I want to leave on the world. Like, yeah, I can say I'm gonna have a PhD by the time I'm 35.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my goal in life. It's like, if I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna go to school.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna die. I'm gonna leave here with a title. Somebody gonna put something on my tombstone that look good. You know what I'm saying? But now that I've gone through the experience, I'm like, dang, like 35 around the corner, like, and it's crazy that I've accomplished so much and touched so many people. And sometimes it's bittersweet because you look back and be like, dang, okay, these people wouldn't be doing this, and this if you hadn't had that conversation with them.
Yeah.
And again, it's not to be arrogant, but it's to say, dang, like I made a change. And I don't need no clout for it, because guess what? Gangsters move in silence.
They
So
do.
I'm good right here. I don't need my name.
What Lil Wayne say?
Yeah, like I don't need no blank slate with my signature on it, because guess what? I already know. And seeing the results is the satisfying piece of it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I tell people all the time, they say, I quit my job, do it. What's stopping you?
Yeah.
Health insurance, they giving it away for free now. You can stay online. What's the point?
Right.
What you hesitating for? There's more people making more money on unemployment than I was making working 160 hours a month.
Yeah.
Help me understand that.
Yeah.
So why not seize the opportunity to bet on yourself? And that's what I did.
And do what you actually love.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. They pay me to have a conversation. Give me a talk show. They don't want that. They don't want that for their life.
Nah, they need it though.
They don't want that for their life.
They need that.
They're gonna have the permission. Please enter your age, not suitable for work purposes. Sorry. And if I offend you, then I'm sorry. But let's
Yeah.
have a conversation about that too. Because again, there's something you don't know that you thought was the truth or you assume was the case, and maybe
Mhm.
it's not.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't from my experience. I can't speak for somebody else's experience, but I'm giving you from my point of view. This
Right.
is what I touched on. And if you've experienced the same things, let's work through it together.
Yeah.
If I've already been there, why I'm gonna make you recreate the wheel?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people have reached out and just complained about insurance alone, trying to get approvals for surgeries and things like that. And I've just reached out. I don't know you from a man on the moon. Hey,
Mhm.
this is what I did. Try this if you had this in your local area.
Yeah.
I don't need a thank you. I don't need a you're greatly appreciated. I don't need that because
Yeah.
people don't know. And if we're willing to help give a helping hand, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
People not willing to do that. And
No,
I am. And that's what makes me different.
that's true though, because now that I think about it, I really don't hear a lot of stories like yours.
Mm-mm, you don't.
Like, like at all.
And if there are stories out there, people are afraid to come forward for fear of retaliation or fear of
Yeah.
rejection.
Yeah.
And I was one of those people. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but after I learned that rejection is only temporary,
Mm-hmm.
but acceptance is going to be forever.
Yeah.
Because in order for me to accept you into my circle or accept you into my life, you have to have influenced me in some way to be better.
Right. Right.
I got 3 friends, 3 people I can call if I was down bad today and said I need $100 or my light's gonna get cut off. I know those 3 people gonna answer the phone.
Yeah.
And they've never at one point through my process treated me any different than they did from day one.
That's good.
And not many people can say that they have that.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm gonna be an advocate for you and have that for you
Yeah.
and do that. And again, I may not ever meet you in real life, but we can have a conversation like this. And now I've changed the dynamic of how you think or how you live your life.
Yeah.
And again, not to put a stamp on it, because I don't want to claim that, because
Yeah.
you've got to create your own happiness.
Right.
Sometimes people don't know how to get there. And it took me a long time. And when I tell you, when I got to that point, I laid in the middle of the living room and I just cried. And I said, this is what it is. Why I'm gonna fight it. This is it.
Yeah.
What I'm fighting it for. This is
Yeah.
stupid. I'm stressing my own self out. Like,
Yeah.
it ain't even worth it. So, yeah. And it has been exhilarating. Like, and I want people like, come get you some of this.
Yeah.
I tell my fiance all the time, like, come get you some. If you want this smoke, come get you some.
Yeah.
And I tell you, because everybody got to eat out here. Everybody, mental health is so big. Like, I last September recently got diagnosed with autism, and they call you what's called a savant, which is like high functioning. And I was like, it took me by surprise, because what does autism look like? Clearly, it looks like a whole lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. So when I got that, I was like, oh, okay. And I had to live in it, because
Yeah.
at first I was like, I'm not autistic, like they crazy. I don't, but the more and more I started to stop and reevaluate the things or how I react to things or the things that I think about, I was like, okay, so yeah, maybe there is a disconnect there. And it's not to accept it, but it's to say, okay, I have to live in this.
Yeah.
Because if I keep trying to fight it, I'm not going to get anywhere.
Right.
So I live in it. And I'm the type of person, my goddaughter was a child that during her infancy needed, surgery. So for me, it just was adding another fundraiser to because if this is what the world needs and the information is needed, everybody can have money. Y'all can have this whole tax check.
Yeah.
Guess what? I saved myself. I saved somebody else's child, somebody else's husband, somebody else's wife,
Yeah.
because a little bit goes a long way.
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary, but again, my advocacy and how I put my life out there. And again, everybody don't know everything I got going on, but when it pertains to this and my transition and how I affect people, I want you to know every piece of it, because you can never say, I never said nothing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can never say, it's like I never say I didn't tell you so.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to save you from getting slapped down in the grocery store. You can't
Yeah.
say I didn't say it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the reality. And we sit here and laugh about it, but it's the truth
It
because
is.
you just
Yeah.
look at it and be like, dang, like, okay, this is where we at.
Yeah.
This is where we at. But yeah, that's
So
me.
what advice would you give someone who's kind of starting that process?
Don't think twice.
Okay.
I thought twice, maybe a third time, maybe
Yeah.
a fourth time. That's why it took me so long. If I could go back and tell 18-year-old me 10 years ago, do it now, do I think that my life would be different? No, I think I'd still be doing the same thing. But I
Yeah.
think I'd be in this moment more versed in it and more
Okay.
experienced in it.
Yeah.
I think I would have already had my PhD by this point. I would have already been doing the advocacy work that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I'm on the wrong path. I think
Okay.
I just got a late start. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
tell people now, don't think about it. Don't think about it. The biggest thing is look at the black and white,
Yeah.
because if it's in the black and white and you can manipulate it, guess what? It's always a gray area. And
Yeah.
that's what I tell people all the time. I told a perfect stranger, send me your policy. Let me look at it. And they
Mm-hmm.
sent it to me. And I said, this is what you need right here. And I sent it back to them. I
Okay.
don't, they was like, oh, you want to pay? No, I want you to be happy. And if this
Right.
surgery is going to require is going to get you to your happiness, that's priceless. Because
Yeah.
you deserve that. Everybody deserves that.
Yeah.
It's a fact. It's a fact. You get advice. You get advice. Shoot. People tell me all the time, become a life coach. I don't want to be responsible for it. I just want you to feel comfortable enough to come to me and say, hey, I'm struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're afraid to ask for help.
Right.
And again, that's why we don't know. So if I'm approachable enough, and it don't have to be a dollar sign behind me,
Mm-hmm.
but you say, hey, this is what I've been thinking, or this is what I've been going through. I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me and say, I'm thinking about transitioning. Do it.
Yeah.
What's stopping you?
Right.
What's stopping you? You got the resources, you got the insurance. Yeah, your family gonna be upset about it, but guess what? It's your story to write.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they gotta learn, you know what? So ain't even that bad. Because it's still the same person.
Yeah.
All you doing is respecting them for a new identity. It's
Right.
like changing your hat.
Yeah.
Why
That's
not?
true though.
And you just got to be able to take that leap out on faith and just say, you know what, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Because if you keep waiting around for others, you'll never get ahead.
And you can't live for other people.
Yeah.
Don't live for other
If
people.
I keep trying to carry everybody else up the mountain, guess what? I'm gonna be the last person on the mountain because I'm
Yeah.
pushed everybody else up.
Right. And some might not even look back to try to help you up.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's people that you interact with every day and they won't tell you that your fly open.
Exactly. It's crazy though.
I listen, I done had a girl approach me with a crooked wig and I'm like, sis, your friends ain't tell you before you walked over here. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You need to go ahead and let them go before you try to holler at me.
Right.
Let them go. That's the bigger issue, but it just is what it is. Like,
yeah.
And I love to laugh, and I love to use my comedy to express myself, because at one point in my life it was a defense mechanism. People be like, "Oh, you're just so crazy!" Like your comebacks is crazy, but that was what I used to keep people away.
Yeah.
But now I have learned to incorporate the two. So now I'm just gonna crack jokes and give you my life.
Yeah.
Again, sucks to suck. If you ain't on the boat,
sink.
All right. That's why I say you might get a lifesaver. It just depends. Don't burn your bridge.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and people have done that to me, and I'm like, wow, it's people out to make sure your kids ate and you had your lights on, and you just because I changed my life or my appearance, you just cut me off.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not that I'm looking for nothing in return, because I don't lend nothing I can't lose. But the point of it is like, wow.
But you know what? Rejection is protection, because that shows you who's true in your life, who's really there and who's really not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And see, for a long time, like they say, you got to cut the grass to keep the snakes out. For the longest time, I didn't cut the grass, and I was being naive because I was seeking acceptance. And I
Yeah,
realized the only acceptance I needed was me.
exactly.
If I accept me every day, who cares what
We
everybody else thinks?
good. Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna sit over here and sip this tea while y'all have y'all situation, and I'm good over here.
Yeah.
And I feel like every person should know that. Every person should, and not just saying trans people. I'm not saying that that's the only thing. I'm not saying, it only applies to us. But anybody, find your happiness, and whatever that looks like, do it. You ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up, you get 24 hours because that's all God give us.
Right.
You might not get that. You
Yeah.
can leave the house at 8 a.m. and not ever come back.
That's true.
So why keep worrying about what other people think? And
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that?
2022, we betting on ourselves. We ain't
On
got
yourself. I like that. Bet on yourself.
Okay.
Bet on yourself.
Like Kevin Gates, he got a pressure copyrighted. Let me go ahead and get that.
Yeah.
Let me get that. Try and get a couple pieces of coin off that. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, man. Like I was honored, one, because your mom thought of me, like, this is a good person to reach out to. And then the fact that you reached out, some people are afraid.
Yeah.
And so I commend you. Like, not everybody's willing to sit down and hear my story.
Right.
And because you got a group of friends that might fool with you, now you're going to publish a podcast. Now everybody want to hear my story.
Yeah.
And I'm open. Pull up a seat, please. Let's go live. Let's have a Q&A.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be enjoyable. Let me get my 6-pack ready, and yeah, let's get it right. Okay, don't play with me. But I'm greatly appreciative. Like, this has been a lovely experience, and it's great.
I'm glad to actually this actually has been a great experience for me too. That's
Hey,
why I love it. Like,
I can't dance, y'all. I couldn't dance then. I can't dance now, so it's okay. I give you the pop-up 2-step. That's about it.
okay.
That's all I got for you. Maybe a line dancer too. Yeah.
If y'all want to hear more from Tyrell, please join his podcast at It's Just Me on Anchor.
Yeah,
on Anchor, you can download it on every
Spotify, Google Podcasts. I think I'm on Apple too. I don't know. People be sending me notifications from everywhere. Let me know.
It's on all platforms, so go get it. Go get it. Listen to his podcast. You want to hear more of his story? It's a great story, and it's still ongoing. So go listen to it. Great story. You know what I mean?
It's a few up there. Y'all gonna be like, what?
I loved it. I listened to his podcast myself, and I loved it. It's very inspirational and very, things that you don't understand, like he was talking about today, and a lot of people don't understand, that could really open your mind to a different perspective. And I think y'all should really go check that out.
Yep. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Tyrell.
Not a problem. As always, peace, love, and happiness.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. So that was Tyrell James Ivory. I really appreciate you for joining this podcast, Decisions Over Time, episode 3. Make sure y'all chime in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
But I'm excited because when I leave, I literally have, we may never see each other again, but I have the ability when you walk out of this room